Okay. Okay, so we are going to call to order the November 20th meeting of the PRCAC at 7:02 p.m. First item is a approval of the agenda.
I'll give second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next is approval of the meeting minutes from October 16th.
You're gonna second it?
Thank you, Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we have our first public comment. Anyone in the room have something that they would like to discuss or talk about? Okay, seeing none. Yay, Elizabeth is here. I'm just going to go over the correspondence.
Okay.
First was Point Roberts Taxpayers Association direction on consideration of increase of existing transportation benefit district gas tax to 2 cents a gallon, and the supporting emails and non-supporting emails received from the community that we're keeping track of. Next was the request from Steve Kagan, a journalist, KBTC Northwest Now. He contacted me to find out how to get a hold of the economic strategy video and presentation, which we responded to, and he was happy to get that link. Interview request from Sydney Chapman, editor of Salus Current, on the economic strategy and effect on tourism. If I remember correctly, there was an interview with myself as well as Anel. We both had interviews with her. Notice of receipt of at-large Point Roberts Community Advisory Committee member applications for the one open position from the county, which I will give an update that we no longer have 3. We are down to 2, 2 of which are with us today. Next was the draft letter to state regarding timber permits, which we will discuss later. Request to review Whatcom County mid-biennial draft budget by County Council member John Scanlon. That was forwarded to all members of the PRCAC to review. New appointment for Point Roberts Taxpayers Association representative to the Point Roberts Community Advisory Committee. We will be saying goodbye to Anel in January. Will be your last meeting.
Only officially. I will be here to rabble rouse, I promise.
And we will be welcoming Jeff Christopher back to the PRCAC. Request for letter of support for Circle of Care. Concern with increased fees for liquor permits for nonprofit events. That was in reference to Washington State Liquor Control Board raising all of their fees, including fees for nonprofit events. Next is Watchable Wildlife Grant request to Whatcom County Parks, information that we received from Bennett Blonstein, which we will discuss later in the meeting. So now we get to go to new business, which is consideration of review of the Whatcom County mid-biennium draft budget. Mr. Brian.
Well, did anybody consider it?
I do.
Okay, what if you did? Would you care to share your thoughts with us?
Just that there wasn't a lot in there for Point Roberts,
Yeah.
like.
Right, that's,
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's similar to all of their planning that we see, all of their master planning, general planning, any of that stuff. You have to go through the fine tooth comb, find it, Point Roberts, and then you have to read between the lines to see that generally there isn't any funding for the stuff that they put in. So, I guess that comes down to us, and do we want a response to that effect? I mean, that's our charge.
Well, I think we should respond to John Scanlon with
For sure.
our notations of. It was a lovely document to review to see that we're non-existent. And then, also I have a follow-up with Tyler Schroeder. Cause one of the things that we were discussing was ensuring that at least a couple things got added to the comp plan for Point Roberts. One was for the stormwater management plan to be accepted and granted into that. And he wanted to, we have to discuss it a little bit, acknowledgement of the economic development strategy and funding for elements thereof, whether it be the commercial sewer, whether it be the resilience hub, but that it, because if it goes into the comp plan, then they have to plan for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So I think we need to respond, and then I'll have my follow-up with Tyler Schroeder to have him assist in trying to get those items into the Whatcom County comp plan,
Okay,
so that then budgets can be amended, even though I know from talking to Elizabeth Cosa, her budget has been completely 100% slashed.
right.
But we still need to go on record.
We need to go on record.
So, next, put it on our next agenda that with a draft response.
No, we just need to respond,
Okay.
because the budget is being done.
No, I understand.
We can't do it at the next meeting.
Okay, that's fine. We've already been told that, yes, the, draft, the master drainage plan and its supporting documents will be included in the comprehensive plan.
Is that right?
In writing from the planning director?
Okay.
Yes,
From the planning plan,
right,
right?
From Pete Kremen, not Pete Kremen,
But there's acknowledgement,
my brain just
Yes.
went, sorry.
right?
yes,
Okay, because it's not like somebody says, oh, he put it in the document and, well, we didn't bless it. Or we didn't know about it.
no, it'll have to be, well, once we see that final, it'll have to be there and, it will have to be then approved by the county council.
All right, so somebody, there's, first of all, it's put there, and then there's acknowledgement that it's there.
Right,
Okay.
And we need to lay claim to the fact that it's acknowledged and.
Yeah, that's what I want is the acknowledgement,
Yeah,
because anybody could say, oh, yeah, it's a typo.
right, no, I hear you.
Because if I remember correctly, the finalization of the budget is at the county council meeting on December second.
second,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Hey, you have time to do that right away, Brian, to compose or?
I'd love to see your comments,
Okay.
cause I know yours, you have in writing, so,
Mhm.
but yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
If you trust me to do it.
On
Yeah,
to
we
it.
do.
We do.
We do. You're our secretary. It's, you know, we're all,
Command of the English language.
yeah. Next item was the new appointment for Point Roberts Taxpayers Association representative, which we discussed, which will be Jeff Christopher, but Janelle is still gonna get wrangled into things if she likes it or not.
Mhm.
Okay, and now request for Point Roberts Community Advisory Committee to write a letter of support for Circle of Care concerning increased fees for liquor permits for nonprofit events.
Mhm. So, when I applied for a liquor permit, for the, the holiday fair, which is coming up the first weekend of December, everybody put it on your calendar, please. So Circle of Care is doing the bar service on the Friday night, sort of the opening night. And, I was a little shocked when I went to apply for the liquor permit, which went up from $60 to $90. At the same time, mind you, that the liquor board and the liquor and cannabis board process for applying for that same permit is now all automated. Used to be able to have to do it 45 days in advance, and you got an email from a real human being, you could talk to a real human being, they, you know, blah, blah, blah. Now it's all online. Pay your money, you can pay your money by credit card, and you get it approved the same time.
Hey, it puts it right there.
Yeah, he printed it at the same time.
Right, so there's basically no human touch, nobody to pay Yeah, they had to pay the person who programmed that, but there's not a human being on a salary that determines whether you get a permit or not. But the permits have gone up 50%, which was an act of the legislature, which clearly they did not consider the nonprofits. And so I wrote a letter to Schumake and Rule and our representatives and said, this is ridiculous. We are doing, Point Roberts nonprofits are doing in Point Roberts what the state and the county can't do or won't do. And yet we now have to spend $90 more, which means that we have to raise the prices on everything, which in this climate, fewer people are gonna be buying drinks, beer, wine, and so forth. So that needs to be addressed. And I'm gonna bring up another topic which we can address later. Clearly, understandably, the legislature doesn't think about Point Roberts when they make these rules. One size does not fit all, in my opinion, should not fit all when it comes to Point Roberts. So I want to start a whole campaign that we ask the legislature to address Point Roberts like the county has, as a special district under special circumstances, and to think of us when they put these blanket rules in as perhaps allowing for an exception. One of those would be incorporation. It makes sense in the rest of the state that it's 1,500 residents, but does it really make sense in Point Roberts? Separated from the rest of the state. Does it make sense for timber rules that apply in the state of Washington, where there's nearly 300 million acres of forest land, to apply the same timber regulations as in our 5 stone lines? So, my request is that PRAC write a letter of support for Circle of Care and all other nonprofits in the state of Washington, particularly as it applies to service organizations that provide services that take some of the load off of state and county and city services, so that we are either exempt from these fees or that we have an adjusted fee, something less than what everybody else pays for a permit.
My suggestion would just be that we phrase it as for rural communities. Cause I see no problem with someone in the city of Everett, the city of Bellevue, anything like that. $90 for them for a charity event for a liquor permit is nothing because of how many people they're drawing. But a rural area like Point Roberts or Glacier, they're not having that same pull of people, right? So I would think that.
So what would the threshold be there for rural? Or would it be a
Anything that's
population?
rural. Anything that's rural. If you're not within the city limits, you're rural.
You're rural.
Right?
Exactly right.
Anything that's not within the city limits. That the fee for nonprofits either be reduced or waived for rural area nonprofits. Would be my suggestion.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay,
Okay, so,
I will compose something and send it to everybody for approval.
okay.
Thank you.
Our next item was the ability of community to donate food anonymously to United States Custom and Border personnel given federal government inaction. So the government is reopened, but I did reach out to the border. Did not receive a response. I did a follow-up email, didn't get a response. So
They have a new person there now.
So I did check with some friends I have that are in Blaine, because they were trying to do the same thing. And, we're told, no, we can't do that, even if it's considered anonymous, because it could be considered a bribe. So,
When they had the throne dedication and they had like 30 pizzas, some of the leftover pizzas did make it up to the border.
well, that's good.
So I think if you're doing it like an agency to another agency, you're not getting a bribe, but if it's for an individual giving it, then you run into that situation.
Yeah. But government's open, so they got their paychecks, so hopefully it stays that way. Next is the consideration of recommendation to county council to place Point Roberts Transportation Benefit District tax increase of 2 cents to 2 cents a gallon on future general special ballot as required by RCW. I'm gonna ask Mark, because this was Mark's original.
I know represents
Okay.
taxpayers.
Well, so, basically taxpayers would like us to increase, would like PRAC to write a letter of support for increasing the, transportation benefit district tax to 2 cents per gallon. Which will amount to 0.25 cents per, basically 0.25 cents per liter.
Yeah,
A little less than that,
0 point
yeah,
0.
yeah, sorry.
0.00 quarter of a penny.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm,
The premise is sort of the observation or the assumption that gas sales are down because visitation is down. Therefore, the revenue stream is down.
mhm.
I'm not sure that doubling the tax will necessarily put us back where it was pre-COVID, but it's something.
Mhm.
And over a long period of time, it adds up. We have $1 million sitting there because it hasn't been spent for years and years and years, not because we have a very, very much of a revenue stream. And it's the, it's the one fund right now, since we've not yet figured out a way to get the county to earmark some of that local sales tax that we'd love to have earmarked for Point Roberts, which would be a big fund. This is the one fund that we have a bit of say, not quite control, but say over. I think that it would be almost imperceptible to the consumer. And the law permits 2 cents, whereas 1991 or whatever it was that we started our district, the law only permitted 1 cent, but now it permits 2 cents per gallon. And the Taxpayers Association feels like it would be beneficial to the point.
So I did get the, Point Roberts gas tax revenues from Stephen Oliver, back to 2013. In 2013, it was 99, I'm not gonna give you all the numbers, 99,000. 2014 was 97,000, 2015 was 76,000, 2016 was 67,000. 17 was 68,000, 18 was 83, 19, 75. 2020 was 11, 21 was not quite 4,000. In 22, we went back up to 61,000, not quite 62. And then 23 was 48 and 24 was 49. But in the first 2 quarters of 25, we were only at 15. So I don't have the rest of 25 yet, of course. Obviously, you can see the fluctuations year to year. Some having no rhyme or reason, others have.
Yeah.
Right, but like you saw that there was other years that.
Oh, but you have to look at the relationship of the Canadian dollar to the US.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, is 2013 and 2014, we had almost 100,000 a year,
Mhm.
and then it. Canadian dollar, and then all of a sudden it went back up again in 2018 when the Canadian dollar, was stronger. and then it started to dip down again.
We've got a weak loony and some political issues now.
So, let me just. I was seeing if I had the. Spend. As well. Oh, actually, he gave me all the way back to 2010. Surprisingly enough, in 2011. And 2012, we actually got almost 100,000 both
Yeah.
years. So we received some emails, based on the post that Mark had done. I would suggest we do just like one town hall. I think, if we feel we need to do another, but I think we need to do just one town hall.
When do you wanna do this?
I think we should do it on a Saturday. We should have Zoom as well as in person, just to be able to. And I would say. I was thinking sometime in January. Cause we're looking at,
Mid-January.
yeah, just after the holidays, any Saturday in January, I'm fine with. I can make it work other than the 24th. I'm away the 24th.
Just to interject so everybody's clear of what we are. We would hope that PRAC would be supportive of this, otherwise there'd be no point in asking the county council. to approve
Right,
the
and
ballot, but ultimately, it depends on voter approval. It doesn't
Right.
depend on PRAC's approval or county council's approval, has to be approved by the voters.
right, so it would be us just kind of having a town hall. I don't want it coming back to bite us in the butt of, I didn't know. So at least if we can have a town hall, everybody has the opportunity to be informed, show up, not show up, have their say. Then if it is an overwhelming that, yes, this is what people are good with, then we can write the letter to county council. We can ask to have it be put on the ballot, and then it'll go out for the voters to
A
decide
special election can wait till the next.
to the
General
November.
elections.
Yeah.
Not that are pressing,
No,
just an opportunity to double the rate.
well, and that way, if it doesn't get into the special election, the spring special election, it still has time to go on the November. But I wanna make sure we have at least that one big town hall. You've done a great job putting it out, cause people did start emailing us. Most were like, sure, no problem, but there was a few that were, and I've already,
Same on next door.
yeah.
Most were positive, a few negative.
I know the owners of the gas stations aren't happy about it.
No, they didn't.
Because they had already earlier this summer, written a letter to county council asking for the gas tax to be put on hiatus.
Which I don't think county council has the authority to do.
So,
Why?
which,
Because it's a separate district.
Why did they put it on hiatus?
Because there haven't been as many Canadians coming
Because they
down to
feel
buy
that
gas.
it's money out of their pocket.
It's not.
It's not.
No.
That's the way they look at it.
is that it forces them to put it up that
They,
penny.
they could charge, presumably they're competing with Canadian prices, trying to make it attractive enough to entice people to cross the border. So if they don't have to send that dollar or that penny down to the county, to our district, they can keep the price where it is now and keep that money. So, but that's, must be the way
Yeah.
they look at it.
I'm not exactly sure, I just know that the letter went to council, and it didn't happen, obviously, and didn't get any traction, but. I would like to do the town hall, make sure it's available by Zoom.
But asking to double the rate in response to their proposal to eliminate it.
Yeah.
My-
I was gonna say,
Feathers?
yeah, might ruffle some feathers.
Well, it would be refreshing to have them show up at a meeting and
Yeah,
present their position.
yeah.
So,
And get the Shell station to replace the trees they cut down.
the tree,
Or to take down the signs that don't apply to their business anymore.
Mark, does a January town hall meeting work for you, or do you want
I
to
guess
push
so.
it back in?
I was saying definitely by Zoom, because I'm not sure if you're gonna be over on Main Island.
Do you want it in February? When are you back in?
Sooner than later.
I don't have any preference. Just not Christmas.
right? That's why I was like, let's get through the holidays, and then maybe.
What about Saturday, January 17th? Is that?
That's fine for me. I will check with Dee to make sure there's nothing. I'm gonna say Saturday, Jan 17th. If the center is already booked or she has something, then we would just do the 10th.
Okay, and what time?
2 p.m. would be my preference in the afternoon.
Okay.
Maybe we can do coffee and treats for people who come out because it's cold and they want to get out of their house after Christmas. Okay.
Definitely.
Is there gonna be
Okay.
somebody leading it that I can put in the ad?
I think we can
Like
do,
a speaker or somebody? Or-
there's town hall regarding possible increase of the TBD gas tax.
I think it's PRCAC's town hall, because
Yes.
the question is whether PRCAC wants to endorse it.
Correct.
But somebody, since it's coming from taxpayers, somebody
Yeah.
like myself or somebody else certainly can explain where it came from.
Where it came from, yeah. Well, she's still stuck with us in January, so.
Mhm. So I think we still need a motion of official.
Yeah.
So
So I'll make a motion to hold a town hall. Either January 17th or 10th, based on the availability of the community center at 2 p.m. To discuss the endorsement from the PRCAC to increase
I'll second.
the gas tax.
Okay.
All in favor? Okay, that passes. Next is the advertisement for at-large advisory committee position. So, we got that update that we now have 2, and I would like to make a motion that on our next meeting, December 18th, the first item for our agenda should be a meet the candidates forum for our 2 candidates for the PRCAC to introduce themselves to the community and answer questions.
Right.
Jen and Reese, are you available that night? Okay. December 18th?
No.
Yes?
No.
No, you're not available.
I'll be in Prince George. My daughter's having a baby.
When are you leaving? Cause I don't mind doing a special meeting.
Can I get back to you in 10-15 minutes on this?
Yes.
Okay. I
So,
guess,
I'm gonna pause the meeting date on that.
okay.
And at that time, I would like to say that 2 weeks post the meet the candidates meeting, we give an end date for people to email the PRCAC email, to their choice. And I need someone to volunteer to help me be the counter of those emails, to do the spreadsheet, to keep track, so that we can then
Take your shoes off.
email the county executive with the final tally from the community's perspective.
I'm quite happy to do that. Oh, you're gonna do that?
Well, you're busy.
No, Excel spreadsheets are not my thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So Brian, you'll
Yes.
be the counter with me?
Absolutely.
Again, understanding that the executive has the final say, but we like to think that he would take the community's
Import.
input. Yes, Jen.
You could also create a Microsoft form that people use to vote, and then you automatically download that into an Excel spreadsheet. And it makes it easy because you're not missing any emails. People are just click the link, and then you've got whatever text you've got for your.
Are you volunteering to make the form for me?
Yeah, because I'm also dropping out.
Oh,
I was dropping it.
That's not the right word. Yeah. It always be a conflict of interest withdrawing.
you're withdrawing.
I'm doing
So now we have one. We're down to one, but you still have to come on the 18th and introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Just, and if we have somebody else apply between now and
And
then,
I can still create a form. Yeah.
but you can still create a
Right.
form for me for after the
We've
18th.
got an official Microsoft account.
Yeah.
and I can- Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I can do that.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to the 18th.
Yes.
And if we receive another application, otherwise. We're gonna have one fabulous candidate, by the way.
So, need an election then.
I still like everybody to come and,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you know, it's like county council, one of their biggest pet peeves is when somebody gets elected to an advisory committee,
Mhm,
when they don't show up to county council that night,
mhm.
when their name is on there for them to,
Yeah,
Right.
good. Not
Right.
good form.
right, it's not good form. I will say that, Jared did go to the county council meeting when he was going to be, because.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay, so that takes care of that. Timber permits
Mhm.
discussion.
Mhm. Okay, so I have written to Mark Pistonius, who's the head of PDS in Whatcom County. And copied him on a letter that I am holding until I hear back from him. About asking the Department of Natural Resources to alter their timber permits policies. To address the fact that Point Roberts is 5 square miles of property detached from the state of Washington. And that probably the same rules that apply over there where there are 300 million acres of forest should not apply to Point Roberts. I heard from him today and he has referred our inquiry to the natural resource planners in the Public Works Department. No, sorry, PDS, Planning and Development. And said they are very busy and unable to respond at this point, but he will follow up with them. So, I'm gonna be like a dog with a bone on this one.
Did he tell you which national?
No, their natural resource,
Yeah, but he didn't tell you which ones.
no, he did not. Should I ask for that information?
I would,
Okay,
because there's a few of them.
okay,
And depending on which one he sends it to, will actually tell me how serious it is.
okay,
Because there's different levels inside of natural resources.
okay, thanks for that information.
So yeah, I would request, you know, can you please,
That's a division of PBS.
yeah, natural resources. They're the ones that do the timber permits, they're the ones that do the wetland delineations, they're the ones that do the archaeology, shorelines management, that's all done through the section of Department of Natural Resources. Through PDS.
Okay,
So, the only other thing that I thought it was on here, but it wasn't, was Bennett's note about the viewing at Lighthouse Park. So is everybody okay for me to add that?
please.
I thought we had added on.
Want me to talk about?
Yes, I do.
Okay, some of you, well, actually, a lot of you were at the meeting where they, Ben and Knox showed up and started talking. And a lot of you know, I kind of got very ticked off at him for not following up on getting a grant. And, I sent the documentation, and this is a wildlife viewing grant that would have been very, very easy for the Whatcom County, Parks and Recreation to get, because we met all the criteria for it. We're on the Well Trail, we're on the North American Flyway, and we're an underserved community. So those are 3 of the big things that were for that grant. So originally he said he was gonna put it on their master plan to review it, and I sent the email with it where he replied to that. And then I sent him another email before the grants came, you had to apply for the grants this year, and said, are you going to do this? And I got 0 reply. In their master plan budget, they've given us $0. That's nothing for Point Roberts.
Mhm.
One of the things, and I had conversations with him about this. And, if they would have gone for the grant, this year they issued $7,500 grants to 4 different agencies. Even with $7,500, we would have been willing to pick up the other half of the cost. It would have been about $15,000 to put a viewing station at Lighthouse Park. And it would have not, they wouldn't have had to deal with archaeology at all, because they could have put in a floating slab, which, all they needed is a level surface, so they wouldn't have to dig down for it. And put the mounting inside the floating slab, so they could put the telescope on top of it. This is the type of telescope you see on top of buildings and have viewpoints, where a lot of them are coin operated, but this would have been not coin operated. And it would have been a two-tier telescope, one higher for adults and one lower for handicapped and kids. So it would have been really nice. There are a lot of people, I don't know if when you go down to Lighthouse Park, there are a lot of people who have cameras with large lenses down there and they take binoculars, but then there are a lot of people who don't have it. And if you see wildlife down there or birds and you want to take a look at it, or just look at the islands or boats going by, having a telescope there would be something that would be very attractive to the community, and it would be very cheap for them to have done this. It would have been, we don't get anything from them, and to do so, sometimes when you do a small project for a community, it makes a world of difference. It shows that they're doing something, and we're not getting anything. I mean, like a dog park.
You're
right.
So,
Like,
do you know how often?
Every 2 years, so now we're in a, because they just issued the grants, we're talking 2027 before they issue the grants again.
2027 is the next
And
draft out.
you have to start writing the grant in April, so you can get the, and I emailed him in March to remind him about the grant coming up. And they totally ignored it. And I had verbally, I had other conversations with him, but I sent some of the correspondence, and you can, and you saw, I've been working on this from 2018. I've had correspondence with the park district about it. I did a survey on it. I've had correspondence about this, and nothing at all. And it would have been, if they would have come up with the money, we would have picked up the half the cost of it right there. And it really makes me mad at the county for not following through with things like this. You were talking about the county not putting anything in the budget earlier. This is one of the things, they didn't even have to put it in the budget. They just had to say, we're gonna apply for the grant. If we get it, then we'll proceed with this project. And if not, then, they've at least given the effort to do it. But they didn't even give the effort to do it. And it's free money. Yeah, if you can get free money to do a project that's gonna benefit the community, you go for it. You do not ignore that. And they totally ignored it.
So I wonder how many incidences we could make a list of
That are like that.
that are like that.
Oh, I'm sure you could do others, but this is one where I was documenting it as I was going along.
It's
a fairly simple grant to write. Yeah, you go there and you go there and take pictures, you identify, you can, I set the links for the North American Flyway and the well, and the well trail, and then documenting this community as an underserved community is actually pretty easy to do. So it's not brain surgery on this grant here.
Part of the reason why I wanted you to talk about this is we can't obviously fix it now.
No.
The grant is over. But one of the things that I wanted to start with the PRCAC and the other groups in Point Roberts next year is finding grants, actually filling them out, writing them, and then going to the department we need to go to and be like, here, it's done. You just need to put your John Hancock on it. We are a community, and it came about, part of this realization is we have a lot of very brilliant, intelligent people in this community that can write these grants, that can do the work. We just can't apply for them 100% on our own. And a lot of the time, the excuse that we get from the county is, we don't have the staff resources to do it. We need to take away that excuse of, we don't have the staff resources. Hey, we just did it for you. You just have to sign it because you have to be the legal entity.
They have to tell you ahead of time that if you do the grant and get the grant, they're willing to follow through. Because otherwise, you may get the grant, and if they don't give you permission to do it.
No, I'm saying they still have to sign it. They have to submit it. We have to go through it. But part of it was a discussion I had with, John Scanlon and Ben Ellis. And they said the only reason Point Roberts has what it has is not because the county stepped up and did it. It's because we as a community band together, we raise the money, we create the projects. We're starting to not take no for an answer. It's that we as a community are stepping up and doing it. Like the library and everything else.
It's like getting the grants from the Colton Foundation or the ones that
Yes,
I got for the kid, you know, the kid.
kids camp,
Kids
things like
camp, and
that.
all, you know,
But
there
these,
you have to go for those, so.
these grants that are available that we have to be the county.
Mhm.
I would like the community to work together, and as we find different grants for these things, work with the Port of Bellingham and, you know, John Scanlon or some of the, you know, we'll do the legwork. We'll create a group and we'll fill it out. We'll get the pictures, we'll draw the, you know, we'll be the staff resource that you say you don't have.
Mhm.
Right? And I mean, to me, that is just, and that's what our community does, I think, what I've seen.
And for the bigger grants, you really have, I think that would be a really good idea.
Yeah.
They're small, you know, like we did a lot of micro grants
Yeah.
this year, a lot. And from the Point Roberts Community Chest that we formed, you know. And we're gonna continue to do that. It's money that we've been giving to a lot of the nonprofits. But, and we hope to grow those over time.
Mhm.
But it's the type of thing we can't do, this is one project that I was willing to take on.
Yeah.
But I can't do lots of big projects like that. So it would be nice to be able to do that in the future.
Even if you have local volunteers doing the writing, you know, one thing you really, if it's anything that's gonna entail, maintenance and, or any kind of follow through, you need to have them buy into it.
Oh,
before
yeah.
you waste your
But
time.
how do you look at that?
Yeah, no, I'm totally aware.
We could write a grant for a floating dock, but, at this moment in time, that they have zero commitment to maintaining one.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is part of it is finding the grant. Whatcom County does not actively look for grants for Point Roberts,
Mhm.
but, you know, I know Bennett was emailing Bennett Knox and stuff like that, but sometimes when you don't get a response, you need to go to the next person. Right? And creating a group that basically, this is what we're gonna do is, you know, people find grants and figure out what especially if we find grants that don't have matching funds requirements, right? But finding those or grants that you can grant stack to be able to, and then meet with John Scanlon and meet with the Port of Bellingham or Department of Health and now Elizabeth Post has straight up told me, she's now the, you know, Director of Public Works. She said, if we can find grants, especially ones that have really low matching funds and stuff like that requirements. She's in, like, she's like, call me. We'll go through it. And if it's something that we can make work, we're gonna make it work. Because she just doesn't have the time or the staff to go out looking for grants for every single community in unincorporated Whatcom County.
One of the things we're working through is the Whatcom Community Foundation. That's who we set up the Point Roberts Community Chest Funds with. And they have a lot of grants that are available. They're not all large grants but they're for specifically Whatcom County. And for everything from arts to trails and, you know, there's all, you know,
community housing and food and all types of needs for the Whatcom County. And they actually started a new program. It's called an impact fund. And what the impact fund does is if you get, let's say a nonprofit or a government agency gets a grant for a project and the money's not gonna be there till the very end, but they know it's coming, they'll provide a loan to up to bridge that time period so that they don't have to, they can start the project before the actual money comes in. So there's lots of there's a lot of money out there for things like that. There's a lot of money out there for things like that, but people don't tap into them. That's one of the things. They just don't.
Well, and that's where I'm getting like when I spoke to Elizabeth Kosha, she's like, they don't have time to constantly be looking for grants for all of the small little communities for different small projects and stuff. They're usually looking at the project they're trying to get done that's big, right? And most of the cities and things like that, they have people that's their job, right? And that's the only way for us to tap into it as a community, is have that be part of our job, is to look for grants, find grants, and then liaison with whoever we need to, depending on which department it is in Whatcom County, to try and be successful in getting them to actually, you know, do the grant if we do the legwork.
Well, and then, there are organizations like Grant Watch, that you pay them a quarterly or an annual fee. And you tell them what the parameters are, and they will find the grants for you and recommend them to you. So we could, if we had a budget,
Which we don't.
right, but, again.
And we're never gonna get one.
Well, but could we not
What's
do
the
a
mag-
fundraiser for
What's the
that?
magnitude of costs for that kind of service?
$199 a year.
That's cheap.
I'd put that up. I would pay for
We
that.
ask taxpayers.
Yeah, exactly. One of the organizations, yeah, Chamber of Commerce. Yeah.
We could have, that's another thing we could have done. We could have done a grant for that. Actually, our minimum grant is $250, so it's.
Okay, well,
There's probably tax on the one in a.
right.
But I'm just saying.
But, okay, I think like this is a discussion I wanted to bring up just because of what Bennett went through. And this is something that I've been thinking about.
Did you ever get any kind of apology or at least?
No.
Not even.
He said, remind him in 2 years when it comes up again.
Yeah, that's what he said. And that's, to me, that's ignoring it.
I'll be busy slashing your tire.
Because his excuse was, I forgot, even though I was pretty clear in the email that I sent them.
Would it be beneficial to meet him in public over coffee?
No, it would be better for me to go in front of the Whatcom County Parks and Recreation Board and explain what happened, and I think they would be very unhappy with it.
They don't have any authority. Well, I don't know.
No, they would have been very unhappy.
McFarland, they were rubber stamped. They supported what he told them to support. No,
Yeah.
it could be different, because that's not the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bennett's a nicer guy than Mike was.
I still think that the board heard what I
Yeah.
had done,
But.
and
you know,
they
you
ignored
could-
money.
But the park director's not an independently elected officer. He could have gone to Sap Hall. No, you could.
Well,
You
Sorry.
could-
No, I
What the time was from.
Well, then it was Jed
Yeah.
Holmes.
He would probably.
Jed is really good. If I have an issue and stuff, if I go to Jed will definitely help you out. Right? And try and get, I'm like, hey, so-and-so hasn't answered me, I'm on email number 4. And
To get through on that.
And then Jed will make his phone calls or whatever, and then I get a return email, right? So, Jed is really good that way. Tyler Schroeder was great that way. He's now at court. So,
And this is such a small amount, but
Yeah.
the park district could easily, I think they could come up with
No.
Okay, so at the next meeting, I will ask taxpayers for the money to pay Grant Watch or some, I'll do some research between now and
Or
then.
we can work with Bennett and see if we can write an application for.
I'll check to make sure that there.
Well, I'll find one that costs $250, okay?
Well, I have to, because I know I can give to, agencies, but I give $250 to the park district for helping the kids camp this summer.
Okay.
Give taxpayers $250 and we'll spend 200 of it.
Actually, I think you're on the list as, you're listed as a nonprofit, aren't
We
you?
are if I
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Part of my fee, so yeah, that's, we could actually do that, so.
Do that, just,
Well,
Yeah.
and I looked at, after the Chamber of Commerce, AGM, I went, why haven't I been applying for a grant for the Apple Harvest Festival? So I went to the Watertown Community Fund and,
There's lots of stuff there, isn't there?
there's lots of stuff there, but not for existing events, only if it's a new
New
event.
event,
So we would have to remake the Apple Harvest Festival so that now it's a community event instead of a Circle
Well,
of Care.
it could be
event.
a bear harvest.
Yes, it could be that. Anyway,
Not very likely.
so Circle of Care could ask for a grant to subscribe to Grant Watch for our
Yeah,
particular.
we donated to Circle Care this year too.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Yeah, so, I have to ask.
are you talking about the grant funding available by the Whatcom County, hotel tax?
Yeah. Yes, because we do bring people into Point Roberts. We advertise on the other side.
No, I know, because the chamber gets one every year and it's
Yeah.
for not something new every year.
Well, I just, again, this is outside my bailiwick, but when I read the requirements for a grant, it specifically said for new events rather than recurring
I'll
events.
give you the email address to the lady who works in the executive's office who
Perfect.
controls and does all of that grant funding and stuff. And
Right.
she will tell you how to do it.
Oh,
She's
right.
super nice.
Right, I just think like we need to have some dedicated people in Point Roberts. And I know that we've got lots of grant writers, I've heard from them.
Mhm.
I just, when I would look at the grants, it didn't look like anything that we could apply for. Because they don't, in general, a nonprofit can't apply for operational funds. It just doesn't get
Yeah.
granted.
Yeah.
So, I just feel like we need to have, and perhaps taxpayers could foster this, or you guys could foster this, that we look for a grant writer. No longer can you pay a grant writer nothing, and have them accept a percentage of the grant. You can't do that any longer. I don't know what that's about, why they changed that rule, but they did. So it gets expensive to pay a grant writer or grant researcher and a writer to do those things for you. So that would be something, I need to find out more about the Point Roberts Community Chest. And, so, yeah, we'll do that. Anyway, relative to, PRCAC, it makes sense to me that we would at least ask county council for a fund.
They said no.
We asked for a grant for a fund for paying.
We asked for just even a couple $100 a month to buy paper and do things and and the answer was no, because you know how many different committees there are inside of Whatcom County?
Mhm.
Because if they gave us one, they'd have to give every other committee a budget too.
And how many are there really?
40 something.
40, okay, so it's $8,000.
Wait. It's.
Okay, never mind.
You mean,
More than they want to spend.
it's to be discussed further with,
Yeah.
with some sympathetic county council members. It's not gonna, it makes perfect sense from the administration's point of view to say, no, that's not
Yeah.
practical, it's a slippery slope. But I
Mhm.
mean, if PRAC can
sort of redefine itself as not an advisory committee, but a community, the town council, which has only advisory authority or something like that, you know, to put it sort of in a different category
Yeah.
from those other 40 advisory.
Or they could just give me a staff member, like, okay, like the solid waste advisory group has a staff member that goes to every single one of the meetings,
Mhm.
right? And that's how the paperwork gets done, printed, right? It's all done
Mhm.
that way. And then there's, someone from the solid waste divisions on that one.
But the new budget eliminates. Eliminates those staff assistants, yeah.
Do you have it on the advisory committee you're on? Do you have any staff on it?
We started with a dedicated full-time staff member and have been, they changed our staffing amount 3 times in the last 18 months, and now I do all of the administration,
Right,
or it doesn't get done.
right.
Mhm.
That's what I was figuring was happening.
The food system committee,
Sorry.
What's,
the food system committee,
Well.
Yeah, so it's,
and they only, it took me 18 months to get them to put in writing, they would not do what they were legally required to do.
So Reese, she's wondering what organization you're talking about.
The, food system committee is Wacom County's advisory committee on food policy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, County.
Yeah.
Council on Food Advisor.
Food
Okay.
policy.
Food Policy.
Yeah.
Advisor.
which is an amazing group, by the way.
Mhm.
It is an amazing group. If nobody's looked up what they do. They do a lot of good work.
Mhm.
Okay.
like really bad, like should stop there.
It's like food security, food desert.
So we have a 10-year policy plan, has over, I think, 110 actions. Like work in food security, climate change, equity in the food system economy, and land and water resource management.
Here we are to our second public comment. Does anybody have anything? Yes.
a
go ahead.
question, this goes back to the very beginning of the meeting when you were talking about the comprehensive plan.
Mhm.
And the comment was, it appears that there's nothing about Point Roberts will kind of written out of it. My question, I'm sure, pretty sure that's true, but my question, are other unincorporated communities explicitly mentioned or covered with specific budget lines, or is it because, or is that omission, or just reflects that the plan's talking about general services that apply to the entire county, like, you know,
So,
I mean, do we expect to show up in this plan?
so.
Any community, does it expect?
Right, so some rural areas you will see, notations for them for budget items. But in general, most rural areas are excluded, in general. Unless there is a pre-planned major project, usually because it's near a major road.
Yeah, bridge or something.
Right, like there's those things. There is, Whatcom County does have some major parks in some rural areas, but they're huge parks. Right, so there is budget lines for those, for new restaurant facilities or trail projects. But these are county parks that are like 100 acres, right? They're large. And trailheads and things, but no, in general, most rural
I
areas.
know we love to feel abused and. Neglected and, and I think we aren't very well served, but I'm not sure that any place in the county is well served. And everybody complains about the taxes as they are, nobody wants higher taxes, except gas tax, that's okay. So, I mean, we all feel that way, but I'm not sure that is completely justified. I think we have to be careful when we grab at county officials that we're being somehow discriminated against. It could be that the whole rural or unincorporated Whatcom County is kind of in the same
Mhm.
situation.
You'd think they would elect somebody to represent all the little communities like ours on council. And be the voice of all the unincorporated communities.
Maybe our votes don't add up to,
You had your hand up, Reese?
I'm quite curious where I could find minutes from past meetings. I went to the agenda center, like, you know, and documents on the county website, and I couldn't find any. Found all the agendas, but none of the minutes.
That's probably me.
We'll go on the website, look to see how far behind you are in
Yeah.
having minutes.
Yeah, but I'd be delighted to send you any minutes you'd like.
The videos are
Maybe
okay.
like the last 6 months or so.
Yeah, that's
I know the video.
pretty much what I have done.
The videos are on YouTube.
The videos are on YouTube if you want
Will you
to.
comment
Yeah, I know.
on it? Amy?
Got it. Well, you know, it's, they're on. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, Mark, I think a lot of people, it's like, when it comes to people getting upset with Whatcom County parks, it's because in our 4 square miles, we have 4 Whatcom County parks. No other area of Whatcom County are you gonna find 4 Whatcom County parks in 4 square miles, right?
Yeah,
Things like that, you know. Birch Bay had a major issue with their stormwater, that did end up costing millions of dollars. And because there might be a Federal Clean Water Act rule that says that you can't disperse any ditch water into navigatable waters without it being mapped and treated, and maintained. So there is that, but, because we were considered this rural, right? But now that's coming to light. We need to be concerned, and I did have a great conversation with Barry Buchanan when they came for candidates night, and there was a ditch in, a car in the ditch that had been there and we couldn't get rid of it. And in discussing with him, I'm like, what really bothers me is we have this car in a ditch that we don't know if it's leaking oil, leaking gas, anything else that's going into the ditch that is then going out the pipe at the end of the road into the ocean, which when we can't even rebuild that pier because we're concerned about the eelgrass under the pier that the crabs like, but yet we've got a car in a ditch that's possibly, I'm 99% sure that he's the one who made a phone call because that car came out the next day. And he said, you're right. We need to think about the stormwater in Point Roberts. And that everything that goes into the ditches in Point Robert
goes to the ocean,
goes into the ocean,
yeah. They gotta figure that out.
right? It doesn't matter if it goes out this end,
It doesn't matter.
or if it goes out that end by the marina,
Goes to the ocean.
or if it's going out at Lily Point. It's by Lily Point.
Yeah.
It's something that's important because it's, the environmental impact. So I know council members are listening to us. John Scanlon listens to us, Ben Ellenbus is listening to us. Had the discussion with Barry Buchanan, and Barry Buchanan's like, I haven't been here often enough lately, obviously I need to come more. So we do have support.
guy says that every 4 years.
No, but hey, he didn't know he was getting elected or not, and he got the car out of the ditch the next day, I will say that. Yes, Mr. Bill.
So I've been riding through Blaine because I've been taking people everywhere here they're doing yon.
Yeah.
So I noticed that it's got a new vibe. It's got a wonderful new vibe.
Zillions of dollars.
And obviously this is not cheap what they're doing because they got that ground open for weeks, especially in front of the Chevron. And you gotta go around the block to get in the front door, but I'm gonna get in the car and I'm gonna drive down there, other than having to take somebody for a medical reason. And I'm gonna ask them, where do you get your funding from? I'm gonna knock on their door and I'm gonna say, this has a wonderful vibe. This is, I wanna know, just that, cause I'm from up in Point Roberts, not that it matters, but I'm with the PRCAC and all this. Where are your funding sources? Because
Would you like to have a coffee date with me, with Mike Hill?
I wanna go see Mike Hill. And I wanna ask him, hey, Mike,
He's a council member for
I
Blaine.
wanna know Well, I wanna know what the funding is, because the funding sources come from different locations, you could see that.
One thing they have, I can tell you, because this is where this idea of a package tax or destination tax that we've been harping on came from, is there was an article and there, absolutely attests to its validity, but the gist of the article was that Blaine this is several years ago, is reaping a windfall of about $1 million a year just from the tax being local tax being applied to Amazon packages purchased by Canadians that are delivered to Blaine.
Right, but
And of course, because it's a incorporated city, they get that into their treasury rather than the county's treasury.
Right.
So that's one big revenue flow there.
but there's a lot more money going into that.
Not $1 million, yeah.
That's a big
absolutely.
hole,
It's
and,
a huge
and,
amount of money.
and
Yeah.
they've done a lot of things, so I'm curious if
And
it's
really
bond.
beautiful, if you haven't gone.
It's gorgeous.
Definitely, you should
We
definitely.
can have a coffee with Mike.
So let's go do that, because I wanna plan to do that, because I wanna know if it was a bond, if it was a bonding.
Huh?
You make it oysters, I'll go with you.
So,
I
so,
don't eat oysters.
so,
I've known Mike Hill since 1991.
so that's
And
what,
he's actually, summer he came to the reef and did a AI.
and I wanna know what else is, I also wanna know what else is planned.
Yeah, he's leading council at the
Okay.
end of the year, but
All right,
he's a
so
great guy.
I'd like to know what else is planned, because they've got this thing open and you can see, but it's magnificent what's going on.
Yeah,
And that's gonna draw people.
Port Authority has put a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's beautiful along the marina area,
They could
the
just-
park area.
They could just restore their train station and get Amtrak.
On Main Street. So,
Anyone have anything else?
one other question. Now, you mentioned 100 here, 50 here, 70 over here. Now, does that go and get accrued somewhere?
For the gas tax?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
right
it's all
now,
get- But in the accrual process, are they just letting it sit? Or is there some, because if you have that kind of money sitting there, is there are they doing something with it, or they just got it in there for like 2%?
yeah,
You know?
yeah. It just, well, right now we have about I got it in my email, 1.2 million
Yeah, but I mean,
is what's in there.
but is there anything being generated out of
Well,
that?
it's
Just-
regulated by the state.
I just wanted to say,
Yeah.
I got that about regulation, you know,
Yeah.
but I said under for other funds that
Yeah.
are generating some money.
Yeah, no, it's not in an investment fund.
If it's in an investment account, it's negligible, it's, because like Parks Board can shift some of its money
Yeah.
into it.
Right.
Yeah, but it made like 1% or something,
Yeah.
Very low.
very low,
Mhm. Yeah,
safe.
yeah, safe, but very low on the investment.
Anyone have anything else?
Again, the Parks Department is hosting the Holiday Craft Fair the first weekend in December. So artisans of all sorts and Christmas, shopping done. Circle of Care is doing the bar. Suddenly we're becoming the bartenders for Circle.
Good bartenders.
Sorry?
You're a good bartender.
And we're doing, bake sale. The bake sale will benefit the Angel Project. The bartending will benefit the Angel Project and the park's new playground. And so please grab a friend and come down and have a drink on Friday night and then come back on Saturday and buy some sweets and spend lots of money that weekend in Point Roberts, please. And thank you, each and every one of you, for coming. It's always so much more gratifying to come to these meetings when there's there are guests. I was gonna say peanut gallery, but so thank you.
That's Mark.
Please come back and bring a friend or a neighbor the next time that you come, because it really is energizing for us to see people here.
And do you know if the bicycle ride is happening?
It is, it is an orphan project. I'm gonna post it to see if somebody
Yeah.
wants to pick it up.
Right.
The light up bike ride.
Yeah, the light up bike ride, so that's on my list of things to do tomorrow.
Folks are free. Tomorrow night is the kickoff event
Yeah.
for the Makers Guild, which will be here at 6:30,
Here.
in the other room,
Dining room.
the dining room.
Mhm.
And if you are somebody who makes things, art, crafts otherwise, if you come at 6, we're gonna set up a little mini gallery show.
Nice, good.
And you will be at the fair the first weekend in December. I love your stuff.
Yes.
Makes me excited. Yes.
Can I make it a plug? So, and only the plug to come and buy things for the bake sale. I'm making the plug for baking things and bringing them by 11 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday. And if you don't bake, but maybe you have like a cookie exchange with somebody and you got cookies you don't like, that's fine. You can donate those too. Sure, little stuff.
Do you want some scones?
That's no cheesecake.
Sure, yes, and things that went well last time, probably because we had a lot of kids, were individual things that people could walk away and eat, and pies and cakes were huge.
Well,
Okay.
cupcakes?
Cupcakes, but yeah, we sold those
Yeah.
very quickly.
Write me a list. I'll make you a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
I'm bored.
Brandy?
I'm actually really curious, why couldn't the gas tax $1.2 million somehow get into an account where it could collect interest, and that would solve a lot of the funding issues for grants?
Because it's all regulated by the state.
Is a question
That would never be allowed.
for the treasurer.
That would be a Stephen Oliver
Maybe
question.
it is, but it would be a very minimal, I mean, they're not gonna put it in the stock market.
Well, they're not gonna invest it quite like they do with pension funds, like the
Yeah.
teacher's
No, they
pension
can't.
and so on. They can't, but they're governed by certain laws, but it would seem to me that more of an interest bearing account that would be low risk conservative, you'd still make money, because, $1.4 million, that does make money if you put it in the right.
It'll pay for the printing.
It's a good question. I'll ask you all.
Yeah.
We can ask Stephen Oliver that.
What are you gonna ask that other guy?
Oh, well, we got a lot of people.
The gas station guys would be happy to know that they're just not having, it's like, it might work for everybody.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone online. Thank you, everyone in person.